People always used to ask me, how do I grow so much? And I always used to come up with an answer. But now I think I have a genuine, serious answer. Okay? It's a little deep, but I call it deconstruction of the consciousness. So, like, over this past 4 month break that I've taken, right? Um, like from YouTube, at least, I literally just sat there deconstructing my own consciousness. And, like, because I was dealing with my sciatica, like, there was a point where the sciatica was so bad where, like, I basically couldn't really do much besides sit in a chair. Like, I couldn't even sleep laying down. I had to sleep in a recliner for months. But, like, for a month and a half, like, I couldn't really do anything besides sit there. Luckily, I was staying at my mom's. Like, I'm usually there for the summer, so, like, whatever. But, like, but it was just this thing where all I could do was sit there in pain. And I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this. So then I was like, okay. I came up with this term. I don't know if it exists or not, but I was like, I'm going to deconstruct my own consciousness. Or I guess you could say defragment, like, your own consciousness. Or, like, because I was like, okay, I'm at this point in life. This is who I am. Over there is who I need to become, or what I need to be, and what the fuck is stopping me in between, right? And as basically, I guess, deconstructing the consciousness is basically, it's like a meditation where you're basically sitting there. It looks like you're doing nothing. Like, if someone observed me, it would have looked like I'm basically doing nothing. But they had no idea that I was doing so much work constantly. Even when I'm doing nothing, I'm doing everything. And it's so hard to explain, but that's how I grow. Because so many people, when they ask me, how do you grow? They see the physical results, they hear the way I speak, or they just see, they're like, oh, you healed your mental health. Well, how did you do? Like, but they're missing the thing is, we are consciousness. We have a mind. And then when you're born into a society. That society gives you ideas. So, like, imagine you're a computer that has no programs as a baby. So as a baby, you're a brand new computer, quantum computer, that has no programs in it. But then your parents put their programs in it, and then society puts their programs in it, and then your friends will put their programs in you, so then you start thinking like your friends, because they're only thinking thoughts that they've learned from other people. So everyone's being programmed, but no one's conscious of their own programs. Like, if you tell someone, hey, you're programmed, it's another way of saying, hey, you're in the matrix. Because what it means is, all of the words you're speaking, you're just speaking words that have been given to you without consciously understanding the words that have been given to you. Like, you believe ideas, but you don't have a full conscious understanding of those ideas, or where those ideas came from, or why you believe them, or do you believe them, or is it just ideas that were given to you? Like, your habits, the way you think. Like, so I made a short video where I explained, like, Carl Jung has this whole idea about, like, the ego, the persona, the id, the this, the that, right? I have my own idea, and my idea is that it's the soul, the ego, and the personality, right? And the personality is the thing that holds the soul and ego together, right? And it's like, so with that idea, it's like, well, our personality is moldable, it's bendable, it's changeable, it's able to whatever. So it's like, where people will say, I've changed so much. No, truly, only my personality has changed. But the core soul and the core ego is still me. It's still the same. Because you can only change the personality because the personality is built on the programs that it is given. So it's like, if you're programmed as a young black man to act like a thug, like I was, then that was the programs I was given. But when I used psychedelics and went down the spiritual path, started, like, working on meditation, working on my mind, I was unconsciously deconstructing my own consciousness and rebuilding it into what I wanted consciously, based on what I consciously wanted to be, based on what I consciously wanted to believe and why I believe it. You know, like, when I talk about, my modern shamanistic beliefs or Mother Ayahuasca or whatever, people always have this weird thing, but it's like, well, I've experienced this through my own psychedelic experiences, so it's my belief. And like, you can call me crazy, but that's fine. But I just feel like that's disrespectful, because I would never go up to a religious person and say, hey, you're crazy because you believe something that you read in a book. Like, you've never even experienced it. But like, I don't want to disrespect someone else's beliefs, because I understand that we're all just this thing that can gain its own personality. And like, you have free will to choose whatever is in your own personality. So like, your personality is created based on all of this stuff that you believe and all of this stuff. So then, while I'm meditating or when I'm working on my mind, I'm deconstructing my own beliefs, my own everything. Like, why do I believe what I believe? Why am I doing this? Why do I live this way? Why do I have this habit? Why do I take this plant? Why do I take this psychedelic? Or why do I don't know. Like, just everything. Because it's like, well, they're like, well, how did you heal your depression? How did you heal your mental health issues? Like, I say all the time, I have so many scars on my thighs. Like, I used to say that all the time, because when you are in that shit, that's your life. So, like, when I was in that depression, in that pain, that was life. So it was life the only way I would get out the pain is by, putting scars on my thighs. And it's like, how did I move past that? By deconstructing why the fuck was I doing that? By deconstructing what the fuck, like, and then replacing that with other things. I replaced that with working out. I replaced that with this. And it's like, you start making conscious decisions. But the hardest part is looking at yourself. Because it's so easy to look at someone else and say what's wrong with that person. But could you literally tell that person what's wrong with you? Like, because while everyone's telling me what's wrong with me my whole life, I've known what's wrong with me for the past 10 years, and I knew what I needed to do, but I know in the human world, we have time. So everything takes much longer than you think it's gonna take. It's just how it is. And it's like, I don't know. So I just deconstruct my consciousness over and over and over again, repeatedly, nonstop, probably until the day I die. That's why I say when I'm like, I want to grow until the day I die. Back then when I would say that, it was a bit naive. Now when I say that, it's like, it's much harder. There's a lot more pain. Like, there's this thing where it's like, I made a video in the beginning of this year, or it might have been in May, but where I was like, I'm already strong enough. Like, back then, 9, 10, 11 months ago, I was thinking, well, I'm already the strongest version of myself, so I'm already strong enough. I don't want to get any more stronger, because I know how hard it is to get strong. And it's like, well, damn, more pain, more suffering just to get stronger. And it's like, what's funny is my strength comes from the consciousness deconstruction, the consciousness, and then reconstruction. Which then, when you reconstruct yourself, obviously you're going to reconstruct the best parts into what you are. And this is what I mean by being whole, right? I just had a conversation with my daughter, and I was talking to her about how, she was like, you've changed a lot, and you keep changing. And I was telling her, the end result is a whole version of that. Like, every version of me that I have ever been is on its way to becoming one thing. The end result of what I'm the best version of myself. Like, when I say that, it's funny that I've said all this shit, but I didn't have a full understanding of it, but now I do, because now I can see it. Where it's that is the end result. That's what it means to be whole. Where it's all the different versions of yourself that you have been, they have all been you. It's people were someone was they question whether I'm real or fake, because they're yeah, I changed so much. They're well, who are you? Why do you keep if you're real, then how do you? And it's because I know that I'm just the soul, and I can change the personality, which then changes this. I can make the body stronger and get healthier and eat better and deconstruct my consciousness to reconstruct the way my mind works and thinks and have full control over it. And it's been a long process, but I don't know. It's something that I know that I'll do until the day I die. But it's just, yeah, I don't know. But I guess that's it. I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.